Hello, everyone. I am one excited podcast host. This is the What Are You Doing 200th episode live. And to start this show off is the all time champion on impressions and reactions of 2,813 impressions 5 years ago when I brought her on as one of the first ones on the What Are You Doing podcast, Jenny Landgren. Welcome, Jenny.
Oh, thank you,
Wow. Is
Terry.
this great?
Congratulations,
Wow.
200. That is wow. So
I,
incredible. And I know you're going to ask me what am I doing, but I want to say thank you. Thank you to the person that you are and the way that you show up, and thank you for the peace and support and calmness and just the energy that you've been in my world and in my life and in my business since I met you. And you just mentioned it was 5 years ago we did this interview. That's just like wow.
yeah, can you
So
believe it?
good to be here with you again.
Well, you're part of our family now, you and your children, and to see firsthand a person just starting out when I interview them and where they're at now. Not Communications is your company in Sweden, and you're doing very, very well. You're doing a lot of consulting. You've written what 112 books now? No, I'm just kidding. But you've written what 3 books now, something like that.
7 books.
Co-written another 3 or 4. So it's I'm sure you sleep at some point during the day, and you're a mom. So I mean, this is a lot of stuff. So what are you doing right now, 5 years later?
I am also practicing what I'm teaching, but what I'm doing is very aligned with this work that you're doing, Terry, reaching out to people and asking them what are they doing. That really makes people turn their focus back to their sphere of influence. You know, in a world that is so chaotic, where you can easily act on fear and stay focused on the things that are outside of your control and get frustrated with other things. You know, I'm part of coaching the leaders that are within my sphere of care to come back to what they can actually do, what they can actually be of a positive change in this world. And there's that piece when you come back to yourself. And I support leaders to get not so stuck in their heads, and science support this 100%, that we get to be in all of ourselves in our entire body and be bold in our decisions and move forward and create a better future for ourselves and our children. And I'm at a party right now, so I don't know if the speaker is coming through from the from the party out there, but we're celebrating, and I'm celebrating you, Terry, and thank you for everything that you're doing for all of us.
Well, I thank you very much, and I'm glad that I was able to get you snuck into a corner somewhere from your party to speak to us today. Blessings to you, my friend, and we'll be talking.
Yes.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Next up is my friend from the mountains. Where did he go? There he is, fellow artist. And let's switch us up here. Con Apostopoulos.
Ambassador.
How are you? Wow.
I'm
5
so
years.
I'm
5
so
years we've
honored.
known each other.
At least 5, almost as much as you know Jenny at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, that more or less. Yeah.
Since the dawn of COVID.
Dawn of COVID. Yeah. The great lockdown of
Yep.
the 21st century.
Yeah. What locked us down brought opportunity, my friend, to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah. I am honored just to say I know you, my friend.
Oh,
You know, back in the day, that's kind of fun to do. Back in the day, you had just came out with book 1 of and you talked about that in the what are you doing? And since then, you've popped out another book. So you've been busy lad over the years too. So what are you doing now? What's hot on the plate for you?
Wow. Let me kind of break this down because there's a lot of wonderful things happening. First of all, before I get too far ahead, happy bicentennial. You do not look 200, my friend. You are much fresher than that. I love it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for creating a place for all of us to join you where we can share these wonderful ideas with your audience, with our audience, and with the people out there. So what's hot? What's happening right now? Well, recently, like you mentioned, the new book, The Engagement Blueprint, had its first year. We had a first anniversary celebration. It did get to the #1 bestseller on Amazon. People are responding so favorably. I've had the opportunity to kind of work with folks, share the message, whether it's from the big stages or all the way to small groups and one-on-one coaching. And it's been so well received because it helps transform workplaces for the benefit, not just of the employees, but the employers. At the end of the day, we all want a place where we can go and we can engage, we can feel good about what we're doing. And trust me, nobody really wants to be in a toxic environment. You know that better than anybody. So that's the big thing on that front. On the other front, strangely enough, we talked about COVID to start with, but we're dealing with challenges. There's no shortage of that. So people are still asking, how do I build resilience? So even the content from the first book that's evolved and matured and become a lot more effective in the way that we deliver it is top of mind for a lot of people. And all of those things together allow me to help my clients build their leaders at all levels, because at the end of the day, they really can't execute their business plans. Those plans are only as good as the people they have to execute them. So making sure that they have right people in the right place on the seat of the bus and making sure that they are ready, willing, and able, hey, that's a big part of what we do. But can I share something on a couple of things on a personal level, Terry,
Sure.
between you and I? Well, one of the things is I'm enjoying this because all of these things that I do with my corporate clients, resilience, engagement, performance, the commitment and goal setting. I'm watching now some of the kids that I started off with when they were much younger are now graduating high school. And the last few weeks I've spent time going to college signing letters of commitment, and they're going off to play at the high level. So watching those girls, watching my kids graduate and go off and achieve their dreams, that's pretty amazing. It's encouraging for me. And then the final piece of information is even more personal. My wife and I and our daughter are excited. We're very close to finally getting our place in Greece, where we'll be able to kind of share time between the mountains of Colorado and an island in Greece, and living the charmed life, my friend.
That is living the charmed life. Wow. That's just so terrific. I know it's just hard to believe, but I'm not sure what to say.
I've stumped the ambassador. Yeah. That is a first.
Mouth don't have anything to talk about. Oh my God. So yeah, that's sweet. So you're going to be able to lock that in this year, or?
It looks like it's getting very, very close. In the next few weeks, probably we'll be able to kind of have that signed and taken care of, and finally take ownership of this beautiful place that overlooks the ocean, and a place where we can gather as family, as friends, gather together to kind of even work together. I mean, what an inspiring place to maybe write the next bestseller, or a place where you can have some meaningful conversations with people. So to me, a big part of my efforts has been to make my work, my business, location agnostic. I want to be able to help people from anywhere in the world to anywhere in the world. And that requires me to be able to kind of be flexible with that. So this is a big part of the master plan.
I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. My best to you, my dear friend. Thank you so much for being here and being part of this special time for me.
It's Thank a pleasure,
you very
my
much.
friend.
Good to see you. Bye for now. Now, Greece. What's near Greece? What could be near Greece? Roma, I cry for you. Ciao, bello. Fratello, there he is, my brother from another mother, Dino Carello. Dino, thank you so much for being here, dear friend.
It's my absolute pleasure to celebrate 200 episode of this podcast. So congratulations to you, Fratello.
Thank you very much, very much. You know, back in the day, a long day ago, you were in the first year of What Are You Doing? And
Yeah.
You were talking about risk management and contracting with companies to help them with their risk management. You were a credit guy for the top of the heap for a long time, and you've since not only put out a wonderful book, you had it transcribed into Italian and put it out on the heap. And that has just been wonderful journey for me to follow you along these years, my dear friend. What do you got going now? What's happening in your neck of the woods?
What is happening is basically I still do consultancy, but as you know, I'm also a coach. So I'm a coach for corporate leaders. So I'm doing a lot more coaching versus when I started, and this is really what keeps me how can I say lighted.
Lit
up. Yes, it keeps me lit up because basically it's an opportunity to share and help those that are going through hard times, especially during 40s and 50s. And what I'm noticing is that although they might approach me initially with some, let's say, traditional goals, like, how do I manage my time, or how do I strengthen my leadership or communication? The fact is that what emerges is that there is such a need for let me use this term, spiritual reconnection. People more and more feels the need to reconnect. So they don't want to be just a mean to an end for productivity. They want to find meaning for themselves, in themselves. And so this is kind of evolving, and I'm loving it, and I'm loving it. And I know, brother, that you as the gatherer are pretty much into spirituality, although it may not come out so evidently in your posts, but your books as well are pretty much a testament of that search, of that need to reconnect.
Yeah, they are. The spiritual journey that I enjoy is one of gathering all of the four nations back together, the four red, white, yellow, and black nations, and with that, it creates a family that called Taheshda, 3 syllables, and everything is Taheshta. If we're all one big family, sure, we'll have our squabbles, but we won't go to war, and
Absolutely.
we will live together and we'll figure it out one way or another. And if you can't, you just stay away from each other like family members do. I'm not going to that party because so-and-so is there. Okay, well, fine. If you change your mind, see you there. And that's it. Not going to be, I'm going to blow up the party because so-and-so's there. That just doesn't work,
No, it doesn't.
And, The Way of the Wind, your book, I can't say enough about it. The journey that you had across America and your story is really quite inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, The Way of the Wind. Yeah, I did say his book. And tell us a little bit about that. We've got a couple of minutes here, and I think it's really relative for people who may be listening in. You might have a couple. Yeah, The Way of the Wind.
I always have it here, so it's pretty handy. It's a journey of awakening. So I'm describing the journey of this character that is a manager. So it's a corporate leader, always involved in the pressure, the deliveries, and the work that we know very well, what you live inside a corporation. So one day he's fired, and he decides to go after the dream of a lifetime, to cross the Indian Reservation of America, because the character mother was an Indian. So he decided to go there because as a kid he received some visions and a vision of stuff that he didn't have experience on, but they proved to actually be real. And so he goes to America in search of to reconnect with this voice, with this vision, and he finds out other characters like a spiritual guide, a clairvoyant, and other people. And with these people, he goes through different experiences like energy healings and more of that. So basically it's a story where this character that is filled with roles, responsibility in a very structured way, the way we are used to, slowly start to remove layers and layers of beliefs, of mental patterns and schemes, and he finds the way of the wind. It's a way of liberation when you're so free that you are untouchable, ungraspable, and simply you are. So and what is interesting is that although it has a few years, this book, because I think it was published in 21, I believe, end of 21, it's still selling droplets, but still selling. So it means that it's got its own appeal. So, and I'm happy for that.
I am happy for
Thank
you. I am happy
Thank
for you. And I'm blessed that you were able to make it here and be with me for a little while today. And it's getting kind of late where you are, and it's getting real late where my next guest is. And I promised her I would get her out of here pretty early. So blessings to you, dear friend. And
happy to be here celebrating your 200th episode, Gatherer.
Okay, brother. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
I'm going to India. Anybody want to join me? They have spicy food, but don't tell them. Niraha Ganesh is one of those people that made a comment on a LinkedIn connection of mine, and it was instant. Oh, I got to know her. What's she doing? And I reached out to her. We did a fantastic, what are you doing? We even did a couple of lives after that. Niraha Ganesh, I'm so honored that you can make it here because, man, you're doing some things in India in a big way. And the people on the network here like you too, because you are right up there on the top of the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Ambassador Terry. And yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to think about how we met. In India, in Hindi, we say "jab we met," right? When we met, that's what the "jab we met." So it's really interesting, right? I mean, the other speakers that you had prior, you've probably known them for many years. We didn't know, but then networking is all about connecting and genuinely making those connections, being interested in what each other does. And your show is so brilliant. It's all about that, right? I want to get to know what you are doing. Fantastic.
Yeah, spot on. All of these people I met that's on the show today, I haven't met in person beforehand. These are all people that started since lockdown in groups that I've been in. A number of them, Con was in a group with me, still is. We meet not every week anymore, but we used to call ourselves the Tuesday Crew. It was kind of a fun group of thought leaders and authors, and they're still popping in each other. And a lot of them we've created pretty strong, lasting relationships, and it has just truly been a joy to to learn about them and what they're doing out here, because as they say in America, we don't have a bum interview in the lot. It's these are very nice people. They're doing very good work. I want you to talk about your work, though.
Sure.
You do some stage time. Every time I turn around, there's a mic in your hand, and I'm a mic person too. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. As my LinkedIn headline also states, I'm really passionate about bringing a positive mindset shift with every interaction that I have with people, largely women and students. Not that I'd have anything against men, but this is my passion area, right? So I do whatever I can towards that. So what I started was, yeah, I got invited to speak at some places, and I realized when I speak, people seem to enjoy and it seems to change something in their minds. So I said, I must do more of this. So while I was trying to be on stages, and as many as I can, and today it being virtual, we do get plenty of opportunities, I also started writing. Okay, so I've kind of done a few blogs, and I do a lot of posting on LinkedIn. So it is stage appearances, keynotes, panel discussions, and writing, which then made me get invited to do leadership programs, right? It could be a workshop of a day or long-term 6-month leadership journey, all mostly for women leaders. So what I have done this year is launched my own women's leadership development program, and I have called it Trailblaze Hers, HERS. So there's a slight, thing with the spelling, and it's got 6 modules, if I may call it. And the first one, because in all the conversations that I was listening to, the power of purpose came out so very fundamental. Why are we doing what we are doing? And I realized that anybody, and especially the women, because of certain mindsets that are limiting beliefs that keep them behind, and hence they don't take action towards their goals, their ambitions, largely it's because they don't know what they want to do. They've just grown up, they went to school, they went to college, they got into a job, but why are they there? What is their larger vision for their life and their career? Somewhere that was missing. So in Trailblazers, I start with that, the power of purpose, and then a few other elements which I've largely seen women struggle with. They need advice on, they need a little bit of mentorship and coaching, one of them being work-life integration. For example, I in India it is 10:50 p.m. now, and people may just say, no, I can't do these things. 10:50 p.m. it is sleep time, it's family time. But if you need to really grow, you need to know how to integrate both your home and your work in a way that you feel holistically having achieved everything. It's not about 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, right? 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and 8 hours of family or whatever. Then there is a module which I call Power of Influencing, because influencing outcomes is a very, very important aspect for leadership. Then I also talk about negotiation both at work for sure, but also at home, because if you want to achieve something, you also need to let people at home know that this is my aspiration and negotiate. For example, I negotiated with my husband and said, please go away from this room because I want to be on this show. Otherwise, this is his room for TV and newspaper and all of that. So, yeah, this is so important. Communication, especially assertive communication. And finally, networking and personal branding, my most famous and most loved topics. So I've packaged this into Trailblazers as a 6-month program, also interspersed with a lot of coaching, because while there can be a tell and there can be a group facilitation, I think one-on-one coaching is also important, and that's what is keeping me busy, and looking forward to what 2025 will bring me from there.
You betcha. You betcha. Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I want to honor the late night that you're on, and I'm glad we were able to get you on right away today. And blessings to you. I'm sure we're going to be doing some more stuff in the future. We've done a couple now. I'm sure we're certainly going to do some more. So blessings to you, and thanks again for coming.
My pleasure, and congratulations on 200. I'm sure there will be 400 and 600, and we'll see you again.
That could be fun. Bye for now.
Bye.
Now, this next guest of mine is Screen Time live co-host, superstar, and we have had so much fun. Lisa Gable, welcome, partner. How are we doing?
Doing just great. How are you doing on this holiday weekend?
I am doing it, Good Friday kind of stuff, and I'm trying to be good or getting to there. And, this has just been so fun. I've been giddy all morning. You and I spoke just a little bit this morning on a different thing that we're getting ready to do, like we do a lot of. And it's been quite a journey. I think your book Turnaround was out like a year and a half when I first had you on the World Thought Leaders event, and got you here on a What Are You Doing? And that took us off like fire. We've been on about 3 or 4, if not 5 events so far, and I think there's going to be a couple of more. This has just been one of those connections that you and I became instant and fast friends, along with my wife Linda, and I'm just so happy that you were able to make it today. You have a busy life going right now, and I'm going to shut up and let you tell me a little bit about what are you doing right now.
Well, right now, my life has got multiple different pieces to it, as everyone's does. And sometimes you end up showing people more of what's going on than you used to. But basically, I retired after I wrote the book and ended up being chair and co-chair of a number of organizations, really focusing on 2 distinct areas. One is women in democracy, and the other being how we use technological innovation to support people with diet-related disease and rare disease. And so today, what I bring forward is not only my knowledge and expertise and network around the world to ensure that we have the infrastructure we need to support women who are out running for office, becoming judges, being thought leaders, running businesses. But then I turn in the other direction and really lean into the caregiving and rare disease category, which has impacted my family.
Absolutely. Disease in one way or one form or another impacts us all. And, this whole What Are You Doing started from a pretty big disease. And I'd like you to tell the audience about your book and what you were doing with your consulting work with Turnaround, because man, you got some good stuff in that book.
Well, thank you. And it's really fun seeing people use the book even more and more. It's funny where we see spikes in sales, and we have definitely seen spikes in sales as things are being addressed within different governments around the world. And we're really seeing major geopolitical shifts. My background is that 40 years ago, I began to be involved both in government philanthropy and the private sector. And I've been brought in by CEOs and billionaire philanthropists and even a president or 2 of the United States to turn around organizations and activities that were very important from a variety of different reasons. One being new market growth opportunity, but also in some cases that they were facing regulatory headwinds, and they needed to rethink how the industry overarchingly responded to those headwinds, and also listening to the consumers who buy their products. And then my most fun job was serving as the U.S. ambassador to the World's Fair, the World Expo in 2004, 2005 in Aichi, Japan. And I'm thrilled that I'll be going for the Osaka Expo 20 years later that is going on this year and has just launched. But that in and of itself was also a turnaround. Going back 175 years, the way in which they constructed these expos were really as the first trade shows. But because of a wide variety of rules and changes within governments and centuries, what we've seen is that people have a very difficult time keeping to their financial and governance frameworks that are required in order to be participants. And so I took over as the first woman. I've been the only woman to serve in almost 200 years in that role. And then secondarily, making sure that we as the United States in 2005 gave the fair what it deserved, and all of our international partners from 120 countries from both a consumer experience at the expo as well as exploring opportunities for foreign direct investment in the United States, manufacturing opportunities.
Absolutely, absolutely. If I was to name drop your book again, Turnaround, you did some great things there for the reputation of the United States. You went to put some corporate budgeting together to where your fundraising was made a little bit easier, and you stayed within budget. Nobody does that.
Yes, and got recognized on the floor of the United States Senate for being the only person since the late 1800s to put together and manage a U.S. engagement in a World Expo on budget and without any legal troubles. It is always interesting how difficult it is, whether you're, and this gets into the democracy building side, right? There's nothing more important than governance and fiduciary responsibility to ensure that all people can participate, and that when people do participate, that they receive value for the money that they invest in whatever activity they're involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We seem to retire one way or another, and we end up getting busier than we did when we were in the boardroom, and but it's a different kind of busy,
It is.
It's there.
A self-selection process, and having to provide impact while at the same time maintaining boundaries and ensuring that the reasons why you needed time to be with your family are honored, and also the time that you deserve to go and have fun. That's so much fun for me to see friends exploring. It seems this year everybody I know has gone to Antarctica, so you see the waves. Last year everybody went to Japan. This year they all seem to be going to Antarctica. I hope I can join them someday.
Well, a couple of years ago, you were down on the southern tip of South America, hoofing it around, and that was right about the time that I first really met you and did this show with you. And what was it, Patagonia? I think you were down there for quite a while, a month or two. I'm sure that was quite an experience unto itself.
It was. In fact, we had because of COVID, we had a trip planned to the Arctic Circle to see polar bears in 1 year. I think it was 2020. And then we had planned to go to Patagonia with my husband's Harvard Business School class in 2021. And when they all rescheduled the trips, they rescheduled them within 2 weeks of each other. So Jim and I went from the North Pole, seeing polar bears, all the way down to the southern tip of Latin America, and an opportunity to see the glaciers and hike there. So we didn't make it all the way to Antarctica. So he pointed at it and he said, "See all that icy stuff? That's it. You've checked it off the list." I'm like, "No, I haven't. I haven't checked it off the list yet." I have to go put my foot on the ground, and then we'll count it.
Then you'll count it. I love it. I love it. Well, I know you're really, really busy, and I adore you to death. You're part of the family, you know that. And the book Turnaround is still a hot item out there, and she right here on LinkedIn. You can get a hold of her if you want to have a chat about some turnaround opportunities for your company. Hint, hint. Okay, so you never know who's listening to one of these. So thank you, my dearest friend, and hope to see you again. Well, I know I'm going to see you again. We're doing some stuff right now. We're putting in the planning stage. So, okay, thank you for being.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye.
Well, I'm still bouncing around the world. Yes, I'm still sitting here, but my guests are from all over the world. Now we're going over to Eastern Europe, where this woman is building communities and teaching them how to do it and how to make money. And what do I say about Jovita? Jovita is a very special person. Again, she is another one of these people that commented on a connection of mine on LinkedIn, and I just wanted to talk to her. I said, "Whoa, what are you doing? You are interesting." And she's off camera right now, so I don't know if she's back yet or not. So hop on camera when you can, Jovita. And we've got a whole lot of more people coming. The background on what are you doing really started from, I'm a morning person, 4 to 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm up 7 days a week, and most of my life. So it's not a big deal. And one morning I was about a month in, as you can tell, April 17th, first part of April, back in 2020, I was reading all of these fantastic content and comments on LinkedIn, and I'm thinking to myself, man, this is great content. There were 10 things to think about now, 5 things to ask your staff to make sure they're all right, all kinds of things like that. And I got to thinking, wow, I wonder what these guys are doing right now. I know I'm sitting here, within about 2-3 weeks, all of my speaking gigs for the year were gone. And I was just kind of sitting around and oops, got internet problem, I guess. Somebody's blinking in and out, so I'm not real sure. So let's talk about it. The little light above me went off, and I thought, this could be really interesting in that I could bring people on LinkedIn over Zoom, pre-recorded, so we don't have any problems with recording and everything. Keep it under 5 minutes, and it'll probably do pretty good. And it did. I had 1,783 people when I started. What are you doing? Following me on LinkedIn. Now it's almost 44,000. And we've got my friend back, the Miss Community herself, Jovita Magistrate. Hello, Jovita.
Hello, Ambassador. So nice to see you.
Nice to be seen.
Thank you again for your kind words and trust and all the support you keep showing to me. It's really very special.
Yeah, well, and I wouldn't let you go either. You were busy. I kept asking you, oh, not yet, not yet, not yet. And then finally I got her on, and what happened? She blew the roof off of the place. 1,000 plus impressions, and on your, what are you doing that time 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I guess now. No, not quite that. About 3 years now, I guess.
Yeah, but I think,
and you're doing, like all of my guests, you're doing really neat work. What you're doing is as pertinent in person as it is online, and has a lot to do with community. And I'm going to let you talk about that, because what you're doing is it's going to be what a lot of people are going to be doing here in the near future, I believe. So tell us about what you're doing with your community building.
Yeah. So I'm really very happy to share what I am doing. But just before, when you told that I was postponing our meeting, the first What I Am Doing meeting, because I think the real reason was that I was really going through a very deep hero journey personally in my life after UNICEF. And I was not really sure what I am doing. So, your question, what are you doing? I have no idea what I am doing. And then as soon as I got this message from the universe or guidance, what I am doing, that's when our conversation happens. So what I am doing now, and I am very confident and know that it's my passion, so I am helping purpose-driven leaders to build high impact and profitable communities. And I am bringing best practices from my 17 years experience with UNICEF, where I was mainly raising money for the UNICEF programs worldwide. And that's why I know very clearly how it's essential that we bridge impact with profitability. Because if you are not profitable, your impact is very minimal. And every organization, you know, will it be a development organization or charity, they need to have money to create impact. So this is my passion, you know, especially talking with the purpose-driven leaders who always focus on the impact, which I do understand as being someone who worked for UNICEF with all my heart. But I think it's essential that we bridge this, and you know, so it's the only way to build a legacy and a sustainable 6, 7, or 8 figures business, because I do believe that we deserve and are worth both. So that's what I am doing.
Absolutely. Now, she name dropped UNICEF. You go, all right, a government organization. She raised some money, what, $50,000, blah, blah, blah. This woman was the country boss for her country, and she raised millions of dollars, okay? Millions. This woman has pedigree, and her background as a successful executive is worth reaching out to here on LinkedIn and having a chat if you're thinking about monetizing a community concept, okay? You want to reach out to her because this is not only unique, she knows what she's doing, okay? Little plug for you, Jovita.
Yeah, and I think it's very nice that you mentioned, I really at UNICEF, I built community from 0 to 20,000, and I did this with small team, no financial budget or brand awareness. So I literally know how to build it from 0 without nothing. So yeah, so that's my maybe big differentiator from others, because I know I did it myself, and I think my also biggest advantage that I am looking for the most cost-effective ways to do this, the most results-driven ways to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you very, very much. It's late in the evening there, and I appreciate that you honor me to be here, Jovita, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Ambassador.
Okay, bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Now, if that Eastern Europe wasn't enough fun, let's go out to California and have my partner, Barbara Doust. Barbara, wonderful to see you, my friend. How are you?
Oh, it's so great to see you. I'm fantastic. How about you?
I am giddy. 200 episodes. I have all of these wonderful guests, including you on here, to talk a little bit about, what we talked about in the beginning. You were doing a system, thinking into results back in those days. That's about almost 4 years ago, right?
Yes.
It's been a while.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And we're still talking. So that's what you were doing then. What are you doing now?
Well, thank you for asking. I'm doing the same program with clients who have repeated it with me for up to 8-10 years. It just keeps on surprising me that they keep coming back, Terry. But that's because every time they get to a certain level, and it's not a small jump in their results, it's big results. And then they get to that next level and they want to go again. So I just keep them on the track, right? I keep them on the train to accelerate their results, keep going for their dreams, and meet what some might be considering impossible or incredible. And I did create a couple of my own programs. One was Create Your Future Self Now, and another one, Discover Greatness Within, using brainwave entrainment. and as well as doing more keynote speaking right now, Terry, that I'm very excited about, helping people step into that future vision, doing more future visioning work, and understanding that we need to bring our future into our present, not our past.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, isn't it great to be out keynoting again? You know, when we first met, there was no out anywhere. Whatever gig you could get was right here online, you know, and that was it.
Yeah.
And you know, since then I've traveled internationally again, and it was lovely to get my feet out there on foreign soil again, and talk to a lot of different groups. I love doing it.
Yes.
I'm going to cut it back this year. I'm not going to leave the States for any reason. So I've had a couple of people reach out to me, and I've said, keep me in mind for next year, but not this year. I'm going to stay close. If I can drive there, I'll probably be in, but if not, I'm not doing it this time. Although I did have a person come back to me and say, well, how about doing one online with us?
Great.
You know, we'll just bring you in.
Yes.
No problem. Let's do it. You know,
that's the advantage of Zoom and going global and being able to deliver, you know, anywhere in the world. I deliver my courses everywhere in the world. So, you know, that's been the advent of having to stay home, but getting out and being in the energy of people is, you know, more exciting for me and more true to my heart. I just did a speech at the American Film Convention, and you might be interested in this because, you know, my background was in the entertainment business.
Right.
And I did a lot of work with actors as a director. And, you know, I'm bridging the two. I'm bringing people into acting out, you know, their alter ego, possibly their future self, bringing in the emotional states of accessing the bigger parts of themselves. And so bridging that work has been fun and exciting. And that it helps. I do that online also, but it really helps to do that in person more than anything. Then people get activated.
Yeah, you know, the value of our coaches, Linda and I's coaches, early on back in 2012, I think it was, said, if you're going to step up on stage, take a improv class first.
That's right.
Because it'll help prepare you for being able to improvise what you're doing and saying and those kinds of things. And ladies and gentlemen, those classes are a riot. They are so much fun. And you kind of do the improv thing, but yours is more keyed towards an instructive type of thing and having them bring out to themselves, right?
Yes, more so. More in using scripting tools, you know, really designing and then activating the not just through visualization, but motor imaging, right? Which is really being the character. So the biggest question that I ask people is, are you the star of your own life or are you the supporting player? You only get one take. Why not make it your best shot? And it's not just playing at it, you know, it's really assimilating and accessing. We all have greatness within us and we all have the potential. It's just untapped and it's limited by the way that we view ourselves. So I believe it takes courage to step out. And then that courage believes confidence, whereas a lot of people feel that they have to have the confidence first. So I work with a lot of people who are in the getting ready to get ready phase, and they just keep getting ready to get ready because it does take courage to, you know, to step outside of the box.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm honoring your time today. Thank you so much. It was great seeing and talking to you.
You too.
And I've just so enjoyed it. So thanks, Barb, and we'll talk to you again.
Okay, Ambassador Terry, all the best to you.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Now, we're having fun yet? Okay, so let's go over to the East Coast and play in the peanut land of Virginia with my friend, a longtime friend, Meredith Bell. Meredith, how are you?
Terry, I am great. It's so good to see you. It's been too long since we've seen each other.
Yeah, yeah. You were on my show in year one. A
I
long
know. I
time.
know.
In fact, I think Strong for Perform. Yes, because we hawked your book, your Strong for Performance book, which
Yes.
did well, I've seen. And so, what are you doing now?
Oh, it's so fun. Well, we've got a new book that Denny has written on character, Grow Strong Character. I've been doing some webinars around this because the role of character in leadership is just not talked about enough. And could it be a more important topic today? I don't think so. So we have been educating people because too often folks think of character as a single thing, right? Like integrity or trust. And they think you either have it or you don't. And what we are saying is you can develop these because they're really different behavior patterns. It's not just one thing, and it can be strengthened over time. And Terry, one reason we're so enthusiastic about this topic and passionate about it is because we've realized character ties in with two really important aspects of leadership in an organization. One has to do with emotional intelligence. How you see yourself, how you interact with others is all about your character and your communication skills. We're still focused on both of those. Another aspect, though, has to do with the values. And I know this will be near and dear to your heart because organizations invest a lot of time and money creating values, right? But then what do they do to help people live into those? And what we have created is an online program called Skill Builder that helps people develop these character and communication skills to be more ready to show up with the skills that are needed to live into the values that organizations create, such as integrity, doing what we say we will do, being trustworthy. So we're really excited about the potential for these resources to make a real difference in the way leaders lead.
Lovely, lovely. Are you getting out? You speaking?
I'm doing more webinars than in person. I'm spoiled, over the last 12, 13 years, I've worked from home. We became a remote organization long before COVID hit. And I do love making virtual presentations, not so much traveling. I heard your comment with Barbara and this idea of, staying close to home or doing virtual presentations is much more aligned with how I want to invest my time right now.
Yeah, with the current processes in America and that kind of thing, traveling outside the United States is not in my world. And, like I mentioned with my other guest, Barb, I'm not going to get on a bird and fly anywhere. I will drive, I'm negotiating a gig in Miami from Asheville, yeah, it's a day's drive, but I don't mind the driving. I have a very nice car. I don't have to worry about that. And I'm certainly not on any time commitments to get to and from. And I love always showing up early, and I'll stay another day late by habit because there's always people want to talk to you, and I love that. So that's never a problem. So
yeah,
what's it?
I think, yeah, part of it is how can you have the greatest impact and scale and reach the most people? And I've just found virtually, there's no real limit to how many people could attend a specific online event and be able to have that kind of impact on people. And I know you're the same way. You have such passion for what you do, and you're so good at conveying your message. And there is that in-person element that you've written about so much in terms of making presentations and reading audiences that I know feeds right into some of your strengths.
Yeah, thank you. It's a thrill to stand up in front of 1,000 people and deliver something. It's a great thrill for me. And every bit as rewarding and thrilling was one training that I did for 1,100 people online. They were showing me this massive screen of all these people on there and they're all sitting there, enjoying their coffee and listening to me speak. And that was just such a treat. That was just loved it. It was just as much fun. They had the team there had people checking questions and things like that, and they set up a special, not a chat line, but a question line within their association, so that I could go through the questions later and respond back to those people.
Oh, nice.
So that took a few days. There was about 150 of them comments to go through, and I didn't mind. It was a lot of fun,
Well, I'm sure. Yeah. That ability to interact with people and follow up to find out what really is on their mind, I think is so important, because so many folks wouldn't want to ask during the live session, and yet they have, and publicly, and yet they have these interests. And so being able to share that's great, the kind of follow-up that you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time today. I honor it. I honor you for hopping in and catching up with me. What a delight.
It's great, Terry. Thank you. And thank you for doing this event. Congratulations on your number 200. That's a tremendous milestone. And I congratulate you.
Thank you. Bye for now, my friend.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, I like plugging around and international people. Now that my dear friend and really best-selling author, Eduardo Besenio, welcome. Where'd you go? There we go. There he is. Eduardo, part of the Tuesday crew. Eduardo and I met on a Zoom meeting right after lockdown. That's where this all kind of started for What Are You Doing? And the Tuesday crew doesn't meet every Tuesday anymore, but we had a 5-year, I think it was, 5-year reunion Zoom last month, I think it was. What a treat it was. Welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you, Terry. Great to see you, and congratulations on the 200th episode. That's fantastic, amazing. How fun to be part of it. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
You're traveling constantly, so I really appreciate the fact that you were able to make it. And your book's a blazing success. Would you tell us a little bit about that? Hawk that book a little bit, because it's a read.
Sure, thanks. It's called The Performance Paradox, and it was an amazing journey for me. The Performance Paradox is kind of the counterintuitive reality that if we're constantly performing and that's all we're doing, then our performance suffers. In order to improve and to increase our performance, we have to do something different than perform and then work hard and just do things, which is to leap into a learning zone, like when, the Tuesday crew that you were talking about, that was just a total learning zone for me, where I collaborated and learned from people like you and our peers. It is kind of the balance between doing and making an impact and doing the work we do, and these kind of learning structures that I just love to have a harmony in my life around.
Yeah, it was great. Your What You're Doing was very high. It was over 1,000 impressions, and we did it around your book launch, and so that kind of doubled it up and even made it more fun. That the book really rocked, And you've traveled internationally as well as nationally, doing your training and talking and things like that, and that's got to be great fun. I've never book toured internationally, but I'm sure I would enjoy it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, like you, I like to get to places a little bit early and enjoy the place and kind of meet people. And if I'm going to an event, I like to just learn from the prior speakers in the event and about the culture. And so then I also like the creativity of embedding some of the things that I'm hearing from participants or from people on stage into what I'm doing. So that I love that kind of creativity, but I also love to see the place. And so in this January, I was doing a workshop in France, to a region of France I've never been to, around Lyon. And I went and I spent a few days going to a few places there So it's, I used to not enjoy travel. I used to not enjoy the hassle of travel. And I feel like now that I actually make more time to enjoy the place, meet people, see somebody I haven't seen in a long time. Plus, now there's Uber, which makes things so much easier. And I just find like travel is easier. I actually do enjoy it now.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Very early on in my traveling, I cut it close way too many times to meetings or conferences. And my wife, Linda, and we just decided, okay, we're coming a day early and we're staying a day late. And we're just going to sit around and relax. If our plane's 3 hours late, so what? When we get there, we're well rested. We have time to meet the people at the event, if it's an event, or those kinds of things. And afterwards, we're in no hurry to go anywhere. Want to have breakfast? Yeah, let's have breakfast. Talk about what we talked about or whatever. And it gives you a little time to see around if there's some places that you want to hit. And I did that myself a couple of times last year. I traveled 3 times, and that was a treat, and people appreciate it too. Because when you go and I teach my mentees this. I say, when you go out and you talk to people beforehand, learn some of the vernacular. Because when you're standing up there and you throw some buzzwords out there, anybody that's on their iPad or whatever going to go, he's talking to me, and it connects. And it's kind of fun to learn some of the stuff that I've learned some of these trade shows.
Yeah, it's so important that what you're talking about. I actually, in my calendar appointment for an event, I have a template. And so it has a few different things to make notes on, like, for example, dress code. One of them is like language, like what language do they use? And so when I'm learning about the organization, I hear certain words, like make sure that I use these words and not these other words. And that really makes a big difference to people.
Yeah. Makes them a little more comfortable. It's not, what's this guy going to talk about? Oh,
yeah, and like you understand them, and it's coherent. It's everything is coherent. You're not just doing the same thing that you always do in the same way. Like you're actually kind of customizing something that makes sense to the people in the room.
You bet. Well, I want to honor you today, and thank you so much for stepping on here. It was good to catch up with you. Good to see you.
Great to see you too, Terry. Thank you so much, and congratulations again.
Okay, take care, my dear friend.
Bye, my dear friend. Cheers.
Bye. Now we're going to wake up California again. We're going to buzz out to the West Coast in Pacific time. We're getting lunches, we're getting afternoons, we're getting dinners being fixed here, and this has been just wonderful. I think we've got a little bit of camera issues or something going on right now with my friend coming on, Lucy. But wow. I'm so glad that all of these people were able to make it. One didn't, who would have been here if she had to walk up and sit here at my desk with me. And I memorialize her right now, Dr. Gail Hayes. I met her with Eduardo and those guys, and she's one of those personalities that we instantly connected on a deep level and deep friendship. And she passed just a few months later after that had happened. And I honor her here now because Gail always has something to say. And she doesn't open up her mouth unless she has something to say. And she was just such a treat, such a wonderful person to work with and a good friend. And I miss you, partner. That's for sure. So I think Lucy's got back to us. Lucy, you got your camera yet? Yeah, she's still working on it, I guess. We got a couple more people I think are trying to get on. Somebody popped on and went right back off. So I don't know if that's internet problems or not, but that's okay. 200 shows. What does that represent? I was looking up the information for the content for for the event, I was blown away. There's over 35,000 podcasts out there, and only 0.03% get past the third episode. They just give up. And of that, about another 1.5% or so make it to episode 20. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely amazing. And, you know, still a small scale getting up here to 200, I think it was 2.83% or something like that of that 35,000. So pretty proud of that, and the people that are with me. I see New York jumped in. He's not up on camera yet, but I can't wait to see him. He was waiting for me, weren't you? Todd Churches, Mr. Visual Leadership himself, the king of metaphor. Hello, my dear friend.
How are you, Terry? It's great to see so many of our great friends, Meredith Bell and Eduardo, and we have so many great connections. And so it's great to be here with you today.
I'm just giddy. I've said it a couple of times today. 200, 200. That's just absolutely phenomenal to get to there. In 5 years, 181 guests. I've had a couple of people, including you, back a couple of times for some specific things. And, visual leadership, I think, was out for just a few months when I had you on board here. And you were talking about it in our Tuesday crew gang of thought leaders. And again, you're one of those people that just an instant connection with Linda and I, and we've got a wonderful friendship going, and I know it's going to last for a very long time. And so back in the day, visual leadership was the hot topic. What you doing now?
Yeah, I mean, it's still what I do. It's still the focus. So, a few things. One, the Tuesday crew, we wouldn't have met if it wasn't for Peter Winnick and Bill Sherman, so we have to give them a shout out. That all started at the end of March or early April of 2020, and my book launched in May of 2020. So, I was a little crushed by the fact that, everything shut down because of COVID. In fact, I keep this on my desk as a reminder of that period, because as horrible as it was, so many amazing things came out of it, like the whole Tuesday crew and our meeting and our whole circle, Jim Kerr and Mahan and Eduardo and everyone in that group. We wouldn't have all met if it wasn't for the pandemic and the Tuesday crew, and continued these connections and collaborations. And I love how we support one another. And it's so it's really pretty amazing what came out of that. So with my book launch, my book just sold out the first print run, finally, 5 years later. It's out on paperback. And the big news, what am I doing? I'm helping to, my publisher sold the foreign distribution rights to a publisher in China, and it's just finished getting translated into Mandarin, and it's going to be released in China later on this year. So it's really exciting. So that's the big thing I'm looking for. So I'm collaborating with them. And so just to hold up, so this is the English version. I look forward to holding the Chinese version in my hands. And of all the countries, it's kind of ironic because a big part of my life, one of the pivotal moments was the theme park project I managed in Shenzhen, China back in 1992. So I had worked in the TV industry for a number of years. I worked for Disney and CBS and Aaron Spelling in TV program development, and I got out of that business for a few reasons, got into the project management side of the theme park business, and I was hired as a project coordinator. They made me a project manager, and they said, you have to go to China for 2 weeks to oversee the installation. No, I didn't even have, I know you're the global ambassador. I did not even have a passport at that time. I had never been outside the United States in my life. And here they are shipping me off to Shenzhen, China. I didn't even know where it was on a map. But that was life-changing, and that's where my visual leadership, that's kind of like my origin story, and I talk about it in my TED Talk on the power of visual thinking, because we couldn't communicate in words, so we communicated in body language and pictures. So we started drawing and sketching and doing almost like Pictionary and charades. And so that trip to China was so pivotal in my life, and now the irony is all these years later, here my book is coming out there. And I teach at both NYU and Columbia, and 80% of my NYU students are international students, and 80% of them are from China. So I have a lot of my former students, probably over 300 of them, because I've been teaching at NYU for 15 years. So I'm going to be contacting them very soon and saying, hey, my book is coming out, help me out. So I have I'm laying the foundation for all my connections over in China to help me launch this book. And as someone said to me, they don't know you from Dan Pink or Marshall Goldsmith. You're just an American author from New York. So who knows? It could become a bestseller, or it could sell 1.3 billion copies if every person in China buys one. Or it could sell one. So we'll see what happens, but it's very exciting. So I'm looking forward.
Yeah. As that gets closer, you and I are going to do another gig yet this year. And as that gets closer, let's do a what are you doing for that? See if we can do a Chinese version of that. I'll figure out some graphics in Chinese. We'll have some fun with it. That would be great. I would really enjoy that if I could help you.
Thank you, Terry.
So God, I'm so excited for you. You're teaching at NYU and Columbia too. So
right this semester I'm teaching 2 courses at NYU, 1 graduate, 1 undergraduate, and my Columbia class wrapped up. I teach leadership for Broadway stage managers in their MFA theater program, which is a very different type of audience. And I've been doing that this was my 11th year, and it's my 15th year at NYU. So the teaching is keeping me busy, which I love. And my corporate clients, I have 10 executive coaching clients who I work with. And I just finished doing a 3-day visual leadership program for a group of Wall Street head traders here in New York. This is the 20th time I've co-delivered this program at a financial services company over the last, I think, 16 years. And then I just did a 2-day program virtually earlier this week for a pharmaceutical client out on the West Coast. So so things are good, and just spreading the word. And my catchphrase is, how do you get people to see what you're saying? So it's through visual imagery, through models, through metaphor. I keep this on my desk to always remember to act globally. Think. No, this is my globe. So think.
Oh, okay.
Think. I actually have a big blue gumball here too. This is my big blue gumball. But the globe just reminds me that there's a whole world that through visual leadership, how can we help people to connect to one another? Because when you communicate visually, it helps to transcend language barriers and accents and cultural barriers. So I'm just trying to help people, like you talked about earlier today. It's like connecting all the tribes of the world to collaborate together and work better in harmony. So we're doing what little we can that's within our realm of control.
Lovely. Great to see you, my friend.
Great to see you,
My next guest out in California, she needs to hit and run. So I'm going to honor her too, like I've done everybody else today. Wonderful to see you, Todd.
You too. Regards to Linda, and thanks for everything, Terry.
Okay, my regards to the puppies.
Thank you. And yours, and Gracie. Bye-bye.
Okay, we're going to try California again. Lucy Newcomb, Miss Woman, Why Women Lead speaker. Hi there, my friend. Still breaking up, huh?
Myself on screen, but here I come.
Yeah, I got you.
A little bit, but at least I'm on now. We've had some rattle and roll over here.
Right? Yeah, literally.
So I'm going to keep talking, even though I can't see myself. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're doing good. Yeah, you're on.
Let's carry on, Terry. What's your question? And
Yeah. Well, the first time around, you had been invited on to one of my world thought leaders, and I enjoyed you a lot and asked you to come on here on What Are You Doing and do recording with me, and it did extremely well. You made it to the top 25. I mean, not so bad, And we're getting ready to do another event, at least one more event this year. You've been on my first Fridays and everything, so I've enjoyed you, and I look forward to us doing more things. So, what is it that you're doing now? She froze. Well, we'll hang in there. Maybe I bring her up from a different angle. Let's try this one. Try it again, Lucy. Oh, I heard a noise.
Thanks, Terry.
Internet can be fickle.
I love
There
how
you are.
software has converted my name to
Having a real tough time. Well, that's okay. That's okay. So Lucy travels the world to teach women leaders how to lead, and she does a lot of training. She is very, very busy all the time. So when she, like the rest of my guests, hop on here, it's an effort for her to do so, and I sincerely appreciate it. And we've got her locked up again. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to figure that out, but we'll just keep moving forward and see. I'd like to thank all of my guests today. This has been such a treat to have these world class, world renowned authors, thought leaders, speakers, leaders, taking the time to be with me to pre-record what are you doing, and making it to a live program, which is very restrictive. Unfortunately, a few of my guests today couldn't make it because they're locked in on someplace traveling. One's on a train. Wasn't sure if she could even get text out or anything. And that's just the way it happens with live. You can't cut and paste. What you have is what you have, and that's about the whole sum total of it. Well, I don't hear Lucy. I don't know. Is this one open? No. Well, I don't know. So yeah, it's really too bad. Lucy's a great person, and I certainly wish we could get her up, but apparently we can't. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to log off, and I thank you ever so much for being with me today. For those of you who made it during various times live, and those who are watching along, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. And what can I say? Oh, Lucy, are you there? Did you make it? Let's try this one. You there, Lucy? No? It's too bad. So, thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do 200 more. I can't wait. And thank you for